Together with Witek Jacórzyński, a Polish anthropologist who has been working for 10 years in Mexico, we are going to Guatemala to become familiar with the San Simon cult. We cross the border in the Chiapas state and arrive at Atitlan Lake, nestled between three volcanoes. The first place of our pilgrimage is Solola, a country town inhabited by the Cactucal Maya. We reach the town at dawn, when Indians are setting up stalls with food and objects of daily use. Cactucals, like the other Indians from Guatemala, come to life after the 36-year civil war that ended not long ago. A lot of them, disappointed with the Catholic Church, which in Latin America sides with landlords, chose Protestantism. They don't make offerings to former gods. The Mashimon religion is an exception. Everyone knows San Simon, called alternatively Mashimon, even if they don't worship him. In Solola lives a San Simon priest, Don Antonio. He has agreed to perform cleansing rituals in front of the camera. Before the ceremony, we have to buy offerings for San Simon. Don Antonio sells accessories which San Simon likes most.
Quedamos 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colores. Cuando tú te han brujeado, no me vas a creer.
5 colors.
Muchas veces uno tiene una enfermedad.
If a spell is cast on you, you would not believe me, but I have my ways to break it. What is this used for? When you become ill, we treat you. Some use it if they want to improve their financial situation. But I don't use it. I don't believe in it. This is for God. Attar for San Simon. Don Antonio leads us to the chapel of San Simon. He's the one who, according to the Catholic religion, helped Jesus. During the Way of the Cross, when Jesus fell for the 3rd time, a soldier came up to him and said, "Help him." It was Simon Sirimias that helped. Some mistake him for Mashimon, but it wasn't Mashimon.
Lo conocen por Mashimon, pero nada que ver con Mashimon. Él es Simón Cirineo.
The figure of San Simon in Guatemala is known by a great number of alternative names. For example, Mashimon, Judas Iscariot. There are 32 chapels in the country in which the cult of San Simon is worshipped. Since recently in Guatemala, there is a school of Maya priests that, apart from training clergymen, tries to unify the San Simon cult. It is mysticism. I have found indescribable things in it. Don Antonio, just like other Mayas, believes that everything lives and has a soul. People, stones, animals, the sun, gods. The deceased touch us. Their strength fills the sanctuary. Power radiates from paintings, sculptures, and lives in assistance of San Simon, angels. We stand in front of the portrait of Sajorin, the oldest Maya priest, and the face of a Thai, when Don Antonio called a friend of his. The spirit of the Thai is a medium. It transmits messages from the spirits surrounding us.
Vienen unos señores, ¿cómo te llamas? ¿Tu nombre?
Víctor.
What's your name? Victor.
Vienen unos señores de lejos, papaito lindo.
Don Antonio told us how he became a priest of San Simon. It was 7 years ago. His family was in hardship. Don Antonio inherited a figure of Simon after his aunt's death. One night he brought his family in front of the Simon face and asked, "Why is my family so misfortunate?" Suddenly, one of the women from the family collapsed, writhing on the floor and speaking in a male voice. "I am Simon. I want you to serve me, to be my priest." A year later, Don Antonio cut the neck of a sheep. From its blood, he made the first sacrifice. Other priests presented him with an embroidered fabric strip, the symbol of priesthood. His life has changed. Now he and his family have a lot of money, are healthy. Don Antonio is a candidate in the election for Alcalde Commune Administrator. The phone call reminds the priest about the meeting of his local party. The election is approaching. Just a moment ago, Don Antonio was praying for Witek, asking San Simona to keep Witek from falling into fate's traps. Supposedly, someone wishes us badly, and we should pay attention to the film equipment. All will be fine, for San Simona has already been taking care of us. Don Antonio adds hooch made from sugarcane into the fire. He mutters words of prayer, part in Cachucal and part in Spanish. Let him, Mr. Simon, return home safely. Care about him as you cared about me when I needed you. Give health to him and his close relatives. Don't let the envious people cast a spell on him to destroy him with their witchcraft. Witek is watching beeswax streaming on the floor, from which Don Antonio is telling the future. The spurt should be straight. It isn't, which means someone wants to shorten your life. Don't worry, Simon will be looking after you. Now Don Antonio is pouring sandal tree oil on Witek. The ritual comes to an end. There is yet a last sacrifice to be made. Witek wants to smoke. Antonio gives him cigarettes, but he remarks that it's not for him, just for San Simona. It's San Simona who wants to smoke, and the cigarette is for him. The god smokes it within a few minutes. In the courtyard where animal blood is sacrificed, holy stones are hidden, sculptures of the former Maya gods. Their souls, called Nagula, support the Nagula of San Simona, keeping watch in the main glass case. They mustn't be touched. If they were, they would take revenge. They are ancestors of Mashimon. They symbolize the past, while Simon symbolizes the future. Why does San Simona, who looks at us from the glass case, look like a mestizo bureaucrat? A mestizo bureaucrat derogates and humiliates Guatemala Indians. So why do the Indians adore him? Who is San Simona? Why do Mayas worship him in secret from Catholic priests? We go to the priest's office. Don Antonio tells Victor the horoscope according to the instruction of the ancient Maya's calendar. His zodiac sign is the eagle and the path. His fate is constant migration. Witek has been listed as number 261 in the book of San Simona worshippers. Thank you, and I wish you good luck. I should be grateful. Tomorrow, we are going to San Jorge La Laguna, a village located at the side of a Titlan lake. We hope to find answers to our questions there. The townspeople are the Cachucal Maya, like the Indians from Solala. But in Solala lived many mestizos, while in San Jorge only Indians. We reach the house where the sanctuary is located. This house belongs to Don Carlos, the alcalde of the Santa Cruz Guild, which takes care of the figure of San Simona and is responsible for performing religious rituals. Seemingly, the altar here is not different from many others seen in Guatemala or Chiapas. Who is the most important god? Judas Iscariot. Where is he now? You can't see him. There is only his head here. He was an apostle of Jesus, whom he betrayed for money. When he realized what he had done, he committed suicide. He hanged himself. The body and head dismembered, and the head was left dangling with the tongue sticking out. The head of Judas has been in possession of the village for 200 years. Witek asked Don Carlos why Judas Iscariot is worshipped as much as Jesus Christ. The Maya think that Judas Iscariot was the closest associate of Jesus. He wasn't condemned for taking 30 pieces of silver coins, or he gave them to the poorest. He wasn't condemned for having hanged himself, because the ancient Maya didn't condemn suicides. According to them, the goddess Ishtar came to fetch the souls of those who had committed suicide, particularly of hanged persons, and took them to a special paradise. The goddess herself was portrayed as a woman's head covered with bruises and a rope around the neck. Suicide was considered as a voluntary passing away, as an offering, and as God's plan. Possibly, the story of Judas is a key to the understanding of the San Simona cult. We are looking for San Simona. He's a saint on a horse, but how strange that you won't see him in the central place of the sanctuary. He's hidden away. There are no burning candles in front of him, nor does he smoke cigarettes. He is dressed in clothes of a landowner. Wasn't Judas guilty of Jesus' death? No, Judas just saw that nothing could be done. He said, "It has been fulfilled." God's plan came true, and Judas hanged himself. But the body was heavy, and it fell off. The head was left. Now it looks after us. We can't show it to you yet. It is the property of the whole village. On the 25th of October, we will take the head out from the glass case and then rejoin it with the body. Amongst the certificates and paintings, there is a portrait of John Paul II. Our search for answers about the sense of the San Simona religion leads us to San Atitlan, a neighboring village located at the other side of the lake. The village is inhabited by the Tsutohili Maya and makes a living from fishing and trading handicraft, as well as from the San Simona cult. Here he is called Mashimon, from Mam Simon, meaning grandfather's son, or Judas Pedro. We arrive just as a ceremony is being performed by a Tsutohili shaman for his client who is going on a distant trip and pleads Mashimon for taking care of him and his wife while he is away. Mashimon from Santiago is made from a banana tree. During a ceremony, the priest offers the grandfather Simon money, moonshine and cigarettes. The members of the Santa Cruz Brotherhood, who look after the figure, are responsible for the following: changing its clothes every other week, putting it to bed at 6 o'clock in the afternoon in a special bed, giving cigarettes and hooch, and then wiping the chin with a handkerchief. Here San Simon is also called Pedro Alvarado. This association is unexpected. Pedro Alvarado, a Spanish conquistador in the 16th century, the main perpetrator of the conquest of Guatemala. He became famous for his atrocity and ferocity, and was the right hand of Cortés during the conquest of Mexico. Then he conquered the Quiche and Cacticals in Guatemala, disunited and set Indians at odds, and rebellious landowners were burnt at the stake. Those who survived were mercilessly used as slaves in Spanish haciendas. So why did the Tsutohili Indians address the god as Pedro Alvarado? Is it because they allied with the conquistador against their enemy, the Cacticals? Or were they impressed with Alvarado's bravery and ferocity? Mashimon from Santiago Atitlan drinks and smokes constantly. He is an expert in sex and the magic of love. Here is one of the legends concerning his appearance in Santiago Atitlan. One of the local traders suspected his wife of infidelity. Therefore, he together with a colleague had spread the word that they were leaving for Guatemala and Tica to sell fish. They both hid near the house. The rumor about his wife turned out to be true. The jealous husband and his friend hanged both lovers. The murderers, afraid of being punished for the dirty deed, carved a figure from the pito tree that has the characteristic feature of rumbling in the wind. 3 days after the crime, the village people started to look for the lovers. Because the criminals were terrified, they weren't able to finish the carving of the figure, so that it had no legs and no arms. Then they placed it on the roof of the house from which they had watched the lovers. As the village authorities arrived at the scene of the crime, they found the corpses of the hanged couple and noticed a strange figure rumbling in the wind. They thought that a miracle had happened, and the figure had come to the village to punish the unfaithful. This is how a new god, Mashimon, was created and became the protector of virgins and wives of tradesmen. San Simona, also called Mashimon as a nagual, an impersonated soul, provides sexual service to selected women, both single and married. Probably, his origin might have been a god connected with the cult of fertility. The ancient Maya from Yucatan worshipped a god known as Mam. During Uayab, the last days of a year, people dressed him, gave drink and food, and afterwards they abandoned him. Mam died as a very old man, to be reborn as a new god, fertilizing the soil and starting a new agricultural cycle. In other legends, however, Mashimon breaks rules set by himself. He fools naive husbands in order to sleep with their wives. It even happens that rapists wear a mask of Mashimon. Witek claims that we won't be able to understand this ambivalence unless we get rid of the conception of divinity coming from the Christian system of virtues. The ancient gods of Maya didn't personify the moral principles, but natural forces that not only give people life, but also destroy.
Nerul perpensah nerul pernau parat kok tenwelcha atau domfe stamoktka bach papka bach am kop luci rwach ami ash avlukwat asih ahutas avish amam chetpov chetmiba tepkona rwach a Francis ahpang shkaya shkechek mahechek chachi chabach chka Dios alus dom Pedro shruch kerdiusi sant ilsha ashavkan.
There is no love without infidelity, as well as no infidelity without love. Christianity had separated love and infidelity. The Maya religion has related them again. The next destination in our pilgrimage is San Andres Itzapa, a town located in the Chimaltenango community, not far from the capital of Guatemala, La Antigua. San Andres Itzapa is one of the most important places of the cult. People from the whole country come here. There are many things to buy, displayed on stalls, such as small sculptures, herbs, candles, a magic magnet, and the text of an official prayer to San Simona. To make the words of the prayer come true, it is necessary to hit a glass of water 3 times, donate offerings, and believe. O great San Simon, it's me, a poor human being, left alone by all. I have to come to you to bow my head in front of you, to ask your spirit to help me in all my deeds and in danger lurking. Retain the man I love for me. Keep me away from poverty. Don't let shamans have more power than you have. Overcome the enemy. Make all camouflaged enemies go away while I utter your name. We are entering the temple. A smell of burning incense and candle smoke engulfs us. Why does San Simon, who is looking at us from the glass case, look like a mestizo bureaucrat? A mestizo bureaucrat derogates and humiliates the Guatemala Indians. Why do they worship him? Is it a good god or a bad one? Why do the Maya worship him in secrecy from Catholic priests? Why does the Catholic Church forbid its cult and persecute its worshippers? Both the Cactical Indians and the Quiche and the neighboring mestizos come to San Simon from San Andres. People don't ask him for redemption of the soul, but for health for themselves and their close relatives, for prosperity in business, money, success in love, in gambling, in finding an illegal job on the other bank of Rio Grande. On the smoked walls of the temple, there are shining plaques with carved words expressing thanks for wishes come true. Thank you, my brother, Don Monchito. San Simon, for helping me find a job in Los Angeles. Brother, Father Simon, thank you for the wealth which you provided us with, for luck in cards and bingo. All those who have been helped by San Simon offer him clothes which are put on him on special occasions. Among the gifts we can find a uniform of one of the Civil War dictators whom San Simon helped to gain power. Because San Simon is the patron of all rejected, prostitutes, thieves, homosexuals, gamblers, dictators, the insane, he takes care of them all. Witek is undergoing the cleansing ceremony. A female priest is rubbing his body with some herbs to send demons away and make the nagual resistant. At this instant, he has gained the strength of the powerful nagual of San Simon. She takes some hooch into her mouth and spits it out on Witek's face, cleansing him in this way from evil spirits. Hooch has a soul that enters the patient's body and strengthens his nagual. The following is the next part of the prayer to San Simon. O San Simon the Powerful, I am offering you your cigar, your corn cake, your hooch and your candles, if you get me out of the trouble I'm in because of my debts. Allow me to overcome and be on my side. Because of your name, let all be forgotten. I am asking you on behalf of the one whom you have betrayed for 30 pieces of silver coins and gave away to the poorest. Yes, I wish you work the wonders I am asking you for. O Judas Simon, I call you my brother at any moment, since you are on this soil, in the mountains, plains, forests, cities, fields, villages and houses. In case of more difficult events, such as a serious illness, an illegal and dangerous journey to the USA, a revenge of a powerful enemy, the San Simon priests have to make exceptional offerings and utter additional spells. They organize the ceremony outside the chapel. Then they treat with the aid of fire and special offerings of eggs, tree sap, petrol, Coca-Cola, hooch, cigars and special kinds of candles. The priest says the spells and prayers together with the patients, and extra paid musicians play his favorite hits of musica ranchera style. Special firecrackers shoot off whirling sparks. It is a sign that San Simon is with them and is accepting the sacrifice. Witek has bought a red sculpture of Simon Judas in order to be in his care and to be accompanied by him in his future travels. And yet, for the figurine to receive the god's soul, it has to be blessed in front of the main figure. This ceremony is very much similar to the ritual of cleansing from evil spirits, but its aim is different. The figure has to be spiritualized and given power by making contact with the nagual. The soul of the great San Simona is already with us. Now the San Simona figurine has been blessed and Witek can make offerings to him at home and during his travels as well. Perhaps he will make Witek's innermost desires come true. Now we have arrived in the capital of Guatemala, the city of Guatemala Antigua. While visiting historic monuments, we are looking for the chapel of San Simona. San Simona, where can I find him? San Simona? Not far, maybe half a kilometer.
Medio kilómetro?
Sí.
Excuse me, madame, where can I find the chapel of San Simona? We don't have one here, but there is one in San Andre.
San Andrés y Zapa.
Worshipping the San Simona cult in the capital is forbidden by the Catholic Church. Though we are sure that the chapel of San Simona is somewhere near, we have to give up our search for it. We are returning to San Cristobal, where students are waiting for Witek. Some of them are from Guatemala.